Nothing more than an absolute circus. Nothing more than an absolute circus, I tell you. I know I've called myself a internet clown before, but I don't think I'm wrong. Streaming, it is truly a circus. Not to say anything worse than that, even though I think I could. Uh, would it be wrong? Uh, I guess it would be wrong to call it some sort of a monkey fiesta. I have to say, I have to admit that I'm extremely disappointed with the American government. I was waiting for the thing that was supposed to happen. I think it was Thursday? Wednesday, my bad. October 8th, we're supposed to have some sort of special event in the Congress, I think, with the CEOs of Twitch, Reddit, Discord, and Steam, if I'm not mistaken. That didn't happen, thanks to the current state of the US government. It is my understanding that such an event has been postponed indefinitely, which is something I don't like. Do not let them flee for free, okay? Never do that. They don't deserve it, especially not Reddit, especially not Twitch. Steam and Discord, I'm not sure. There's a bunch of strange stuff on Discord too, to be fair. So let's bring up the browser and let's talk about it a little bit. Where's my thing? Where's my thing? There we go. Thankfully, we have a special clip from Nux. Is this usual cropping? I think so? I'm not sure. I might need to move it at some point. It's 41 seconds, so let's go for it. Let me move some stuff here. There we go.
So I made this tweet, and believe it or not, someone in the government actually reached out to me. And
which sounds a little bit unbelievable, but also really interesting.
asked if I could actually provide evidence behind these bullet points.
Which bullet points, you might be asking? Well, it's a little bit small, but we can see. Is it properly saying on screen? It is. It's good enough. Hassan Pike called for the death of Senator Tom Cotton. A tweet on Twitter, mind you. Senator Rick Scott, landlords, quote-unquote, fascists. He's made more than 5 videos on YouTube calling you a Nazi, by the way. This is talking to Elon Musk. Zionists, he means Jews, said someone gotta do it regarding Trump. We all know what he means. Supports Luigi Mangione. Refuses to condemn the murder of the 2 Israeli staffers in Washington, D.C. Stealthily justifies the assassination of Charlie Kirk, calling him a fascist radical. Fascist radical Charlie Kirk, by the way. Hilarious. He also a serious propaganda videos on and stated open support for the terrorist organizations Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. He also will support an IRA-style terrorist organization in the USA to fatigue the population regarding support for Israel. Interesting, I suppose. And there's more stuff here. I don't have the stuff on hand, so we had to deal with this. He's not protected to his constant violation of TOS without punishing, including threatening a viewer's life with what appears to be a gun. I remember that clip, also the clip. Those are private info he's created multiple times. One of them he got the wrong guy, which was hilarious. And currently reads terrorist manifestos. I think thanks to that, you cannot read manifestos anymore on Twitch, so thank you, Hassan. Very cool. This is audience to threaten ICE agents. Normal behavior, I suppose. Participate in violent riots in LA, blocking highways while live on stream, not Steam. Stating America deserved 9/11. Cameras propaganda and false reporting. I bet there's more stuff. I've seen this tweet before. So it's kind of funny. That's kind of funny.
And I complied.
Hold up. Let's go back a little bit.
I could actually provide evidence behind these bullet points. And I complied.
Such a good boy. He complied. Isn't that funny?
And I complied. They told me that they wanted to be prepared in regards to the hearing.
Prepared. High hopes for that. I don't know what's gonna happen.
So you're welcome for your service, America. So, yeah. Again, I don't know if it'll mean anything or if it'll go anywhere. But they did reach out, and I was more than happy to assist in any way that I possibly can. I mean, trying to keep America safe. I've never shied away from the fact that I think Hassan Piker needs to be in jail. He supports terrorist organizations. Like, what are we doing? Like, I thought that was it. Calling for violence? All right, that's pretty bad. But supporting terrorist organizations? Like, literally, why? So
He says jail. I don't know if that's enough to put the guy in jail. He should be obviously banned from Twitch. I think we can all agree with that. Because he keeps breaking the TOS. But we don't have to enforce it, but why not? Right? Why not? You have a TOS for a reason. Why shouldn't you enforce it? Well, that sounds a little bit strange. What can you say? Yet here we are, this is the current state of Twitch, I'm afraid. And we have here, from Legal Mindset, 100% believe. From Decoy, Lamau, I hope they play the next video in Congress. That'll be hilarious. That'll be so funny to me. I don't know why. Maybe because it's so extremely stupid when you think about it. Let's play a video in Congress from this guy. What is going on? What is going on? I have no idea. And it wouldn't be me complaining about the streaming if I didn't talk about Hassan Piker further than this, especially with what has been going on this week. Oh, it's the Colorgate. Isn't that toothpaste? I think that's Colgate, right? It's not quite the same. So there has been a lot of discussion with the dog thing. This dog, Kaya, he appears to reach for something, but telling her to get back in place. And I'm no fan of Hassan Piker, obviously not. But I'd say that this clip is not really looking good.
Of all of America's much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please.
We didn't have the full context here. With full context, this is even more hilarious. The guy was really mad. He was furious because he had internet problems. Big first world problems, if you ask me. And you can see here, his left arm, he's reaching for something.
Just fucking go, just stop. Jesus Christ, what are you doing?
And at first I wasn't sure. Because I was like, okay, maybe not. Who knows, really. But if we go back a little bit, should I make this a little bit slower? Maybe I should. The audio's gonna be absolutely horrible, but please bear with me.
Why, America, Kaya, please.
He's mad also because the dog got up, which, wow, it's a dog. That makes sense.
Just
But look at the dog.
fucking go. Just stop.
This is a little too slow. It's hard to appreciate it, I think. But the dog clearly jolts.
Please just fucking go. Just stop.
It feels a little bit strange. There's been a lot of narrative going about, oh, the dog just hurt itself in park, whatever. I don't think that's the case. I've been around dogs for all of my childhood. I know a little bit about them. And that doesn't look like a dog that just got hurt in a paw, right? Because we can see that the dog is going back to its place.
America, Kaya, please just fucking go. Just stop.
And after the jolt, the dog accelerates, trying to comply faster. And if the dog actually got hurt in a paw, you would see perhaps a little bit of limping, even though you don't really have a lot of room here. But the dog would look at their paw and they will lick it. That's normal dog behavior.
Jesus Christ, what are you doing? You're being such a baby.
And it's a little bit small here. It's, yeah, the quality compression on Tudor, it's far from the best. It's pretty bad. Can't
It's
really
just
be appreciated in this clip. But you can tell a lot about the dog just by looking at them. And that's clearly not a dog that's necessarily happy. That's a dog that looks fearful. So, yes, chances are that this is a shock collar, right? If we go further back a little bit, with this quality, I don't think we can really see it. More or less here, we can see a big chunky collar. There are other screenshots way better than what we have here. I don't even know if it, yeah, it can be seen. There's a collar, cannot really appreciate it. The other screenshots I've seen, you can see that there's a small green LED light. So that's a little bit suspicious. And personally, I'm not against the use of shock collars. They can be used to create effect, but you need to be reasonable with their use, for obvious reasons. Way back in the day, my father used to use shock collars for training. But for training, outside of home, he was a hunter. Not by job, but by hobby. And I've seen a lot of misinformation about shock collars. I'm not an expert, but let me tell you something, because the experience I have with shock collars dates back like 20 years or so. So, I know what I'm talking about a little bit here, at least, right? They will tell you, it's small shock, it's not a big deal. My father tried the shock, because obviously you had to try the shock. It was not a pretty shock, and that was not even max power. It's the kind of shock that makes you swear a lot. It's not nice. And there's been a lot of narrative too with this next clip here about the electrical prongs. You cannot remove the prongs, and I stand, or I guess sit here, laughing. We have shock collars with removable prongs 20 years ago. It's not a new technology. Come on, please. Let's be real with me. And we have this clip. This is edited to change the contrast a little bit so we can see what's going on. Producer Soul Says might have dropped the best close-up you'll see of Kaya's collar. Take a look.
Are you happy?
Change the brightness and the contrast. You can see there's tape here. Some people are saying, of course he has some tape, because you don't want to see, or you don't want to show the serial number. That's a big problem. I mean, I guess, but does he really care about that? I'm not quite sure. I think his mansion is well known. It was a huge debacle when he bought it because it was really expensive, which is hilarious coming from a socialist, for obvious reasons. But as you can see here, and as we will see in the next tweet, there's some pretty interesting information we can get from this image. We see this small bulge here, which is supposed to be the charging port, and even though they're a little bit small, with this quality might be a little bit hard to tell, I think it's good enough. We can see some small bulges down here and up here, where the electrical prongs would be. And I'm like, dude, just say it. Just be honest. We all know you use a shock collar. It's fine. The thing is, these people are so used to lying, they cannot just stop. They cannot just stop lying. They have to keep lying. They're so used to that. And if a dog like this, as you can see, it's a big dog. It's a really fluffy dog. I'm not quite sure about the breed. Some people have mentioned some sort of Mastiff. I don't know if it's big enough to be a Mastiff. Some people have mentioned the Chow Chow dog from China. Maybe some sort of Chow Chow Mastiff. I'm not quite sure. It's clearly a very fluffy dog. You're gonna tell me here, this is not full of hair? This tape? It's really hard to believe, right? We can see it in motion. A gap where tape passes over divots on the device, the tape line. Moves it a little bit. 10% the speed forward and backward. And of course, everything here is done with a purpose. He's showing without showing. And I'm not quite sure if the next to it has the actual model for the color. But we can see here, from ROMs, they always lie. And as we can see here, the position for the two prongs and the charging port. But it's also really interesting that's being hidden thanks to the tape. Not just the serial number, but the model. Because maybe, if you had the model, you can look it up and see, oh, hold up, this actually showed color. What the hell happened? And as some people have said, this guy had some really obvious plausible deniability. He could have said, oh yeah, it's a shock color, I tried to use the vibration to know the dog and I pressed the wrong thing. Whoops, my bad. People can't believe that. It's an honest mistake. You can lie with honest mistakes. It's fine. But now, the guy had to lie. Why are people like this? I just don't understand. And it's really funny that people are now saying, oh, how horrible of a person. Yeah? Yeah? Well, what did you expect from somebody that keeps calling for violence, right? It's not really that surprising. Let's get some music rolling. We have Kaya Rest, relaxing video game music. For day when you need rest. Do we need rest? I do hope so. Hey, we have some Pikmin here. It's not only Pokemon. That's kinda cool. Sure. I don't know too much about Pikmin. Don't know if that's a game for me. So yeah, it's a little bit hilarious to me. The current situation. Oh, he wouldn't lie. He's been lying forever. People are really used to lying. Especially some of these content creators. Honestly, if you think this is not a shock color, I can have bad news for you. I think you're probably a fucking moron. We have here the vibration model. It's quite different. It's a little bit smaller. You don't have the obvious prongs. You don't have the loading port on the same side. I think this is really obviously a shock color. It's wrong to have a shock color. Nah, I wouldn't say so. Is it perhaps used in a wrong way here? Yes, I would say so. Was the dog misbehaving? Not really. Was the dog not even following the command? Not really, the dog is going back to its place. But the fact that you find the dog not fast enough, that's a little bit strange. Let's have, we can go back, we don't need the volume for this. But sure, he turns, he makes sure the dog is back. Also the dog yelps. But you didn't go to check on your dog if something happens? That's a little bit strange, man. That's a little bit strange. If you hear your pet, not only your dog, if you have a cat or something similar, if you hear your pet yelp, you'll be like, what's going on? You would try to see if there's anything happening. But, alas, I'm pretty sure this is not Pikmin, right? Not this Animal Crossing. Maybe I misread it. Oh no, this is a different song. Great transition, I guess. That's crazy. That's crazy good. Once again, you can use shock colors to great effect if you know how to use them properly. I do think this is an overuse of a shock color and that shouldn't be allowed. Some people have mentioned that under California law, this will constitute a crime. I don't know about that. Is that abuse? I mean, I guess it's not fair treatment of the pet or of the animal, I don't think. I mean, I don't think that's the reason this guy should get in trouble. There are bigger issues. It's just another straw in the camel's back, right? It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And there's also the thing of the guy had to wait until the next day to show the color. It's really strange. There was another clip. I don't think I have it on tap. It's been making the rounds on Twitter too. I think it was recently. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite privy to the details. He had some sort of woman on stream. She was like, "Oh, I love your dog, but the color's too tight. You're meant to have the color loose enough to pass like 2 fingers through it, right? And she could barely pass one. He says, "Oh, but there's." He cuts himself, takes off the collar from the dog, and moves it away from the desk and from view. It is a little bit suspicious. It is a little bit suspicious. And yes, for obvious reasons, you need a shock collar to be tight, because it needs to make content for the shocking to occur. I don't know. It's a little bit strange. There's also another clip, another clip from his other dog, who was yanking the dog from the tail, being like, "Just stop moving, I'm going to fucking kill you here in front of everyone." Apparently he was just trying to take his third photo for social media. It is really strange. It is really strange. And now I need to ask the obvious question here, right? Are we really surprised that the guy, I mean, if we go back here to next tweet, he keeps calling for death of senators, landlords, fascists, Zionists, whatever. Whatever. He keeps promoting terrorism. A guy that, from what I've read, I'm not quite sure if this is true or not, but apparently he calls himself a Muslim. He obviously hates America, at least. He says that he hates America. I was surprised he mistreats animals, especially dogs. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. And if he actually considers himself a Muslim, it's even more obvious. Muslims do not like dogs. They consider them pretty much vermins. That's why you have a lot of problem with pets nowadays in the West that have been enriched so much, like Germany and the UK. There have been some other clips too with quite flavorful comments about having pets, having animals in general, like they're just slaves, or how he just don't care that the dog is dying from breathing conditions. Speaking of different breeds of bulldogs and all that. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. He is clearly not a good guy, and I find it hilarious that he needs to keep lying. He's way too used to that. Lying becomes an addiction. I actually used to lie a lot back in the day, and I don't think it's good. I came to the conclusion of, you know what? Lying is really stupid. Why are you trying to be somebody that you aren't, right? It makes no sense. But it becomes an addiction, because it's so easy to lie. You can just lie to get out of a tricky situation, so why wouldn't you just lie? Well, this guy has been probably lying for more than a decade straight, so he probably cannot stop lying, even if he tried. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know about this. The deep lore, the deep Hassan lore. He used to be some sort of... I don't remember the name of the channel. It doesn't exist anymore, I don't think. He was like a flirting expert, a pickup artist. So it's a little bit strange that he became a socialist commentator on Twitch, but at the same time, it only makes sense. It's hilarious. Sadly, this is not the only thing that has happened in the streaming sphere just this week. We also have... oh, I forgot about this. We had a lot of memes with the dog. It's hilarious. Stop it, dog! You make me look mad! God damn it, Eustace. I do love Courage. It was a really fun show. Woo! Having way more than this. Tecton has been posting a bunch of them, like the lightning bolt from Magic the Gathering. That was pretty funny. Also had the dog moves Thundaga from Final Fantasy. Absolutely hilarious. We can make fun of a truly stupid situation, at least. I do love the memes. I guess meme culture is not completely dead, but it's not great. We also have another absolute fucking clown being extremely suspicious, that being Destiny. According to court filings dated October 3rd, 2025, about a week ago, evidence confirms that live streamer and political commentator Destiny, also known as Stephen Bonnell, I don't like when people just... also known as full legal name, In this case, it's probably fine because we're talking about legal issues. Where they're like, it's PewDiePie, also known as Felix Kjellberg. Like, sure, we know it's Felix, but come on. It's PewDiePie! It sounds really silly. It sounds really silly. It feels like, look, we know your real name. Aren't you scared? Not really. Engaging in sexual relationship with a minor and attempted to transport her across state lines. Well, that's not looking good, is it? Until recently, speculations surrounded whether Rose was a minor, with Bonnell repeatedly denying these claims in his chat room. Recent court documents, specifically page 7, Exhibit B. Excuse me. The official certification of Department of Motor Vehicles driving record, confirmed Rose's date of birth as October 30th, 2004, which aligns with the traffic ticket found online. Osman Bonnell was exchanging pornographic content with Rose between March of 2022 until October 30th, 2022. Rose was a minor. Also, this guy is older than me. This guy looks... He's late 30s? Maybe even older than that. Hold up. "36. I thought he was 37. 1988. That's kind of funny. So, even though it will be legal for him to be frisky with an 18-year-old, it still feels a little bit strange. In this case, factually illegal, I'm afraid. As a result, a motion to seal the case has been filed. Sealing is deemed necessary to protect Rose's substantial privacy interests, particularly because she was a minor during the time period relevant to the allegations in the amended complaint. And I know this guy has been banned from Twitch a long time ago, but given this, he probably should be in jail. Even more than Hassan Piker. We have some highlighting here. I'm skimming. I don't know if you see anything useful here, honestly. Bunch of related information. This driving record. Do we get the actual... Yeah, they didn't show it. It's probably just redacted for privacy reasons, I guess. So I guess we have to assume this is true. If it is, it's pretty damning evidence. And once again, are we really surprised that this is happening? I don't think we should, honestly. It's kinda bad. It's kinda bad, but at the same time, for some reason, it keeps happening. How curious. But wait. There is more. There's always more going on in the streaming sphere. It's really, really strange all the time. And I don't know if this is enough to get somebody banned. I don't think this should be happening on Twitch anyway. Twitch streamer gives birth in front of 29,000 viewers and chat was unhinged. The head is gone in chat, can you get some GGs? On one hand, I understand that humans have a right to privacy. That doesn't mean it's an obligation to privacy. But at the same time, I do believe that some privacy should be perhaps mandatory. I don't think you should make a show of giving birth to tiny baby. Because when you think about it, even though it's not a full legal human at this point in time, because it's not an adult, aren't you to some extent violating the privacy of the tiny baby? I think that's potentially illegal in some places, I'm not quite sure. I know that in some countries, journalists cannot show the faces of minors, for example. So it feels really strange to me. I don't think this should be on Twitch. Is this enough to ban somebody? Maybe we need to be harsher. Maybe we actually need to ban people for this. Because if we don't ban people for this, they will keep doing it. And I don't think this is something that should happen on Twitch. I think that's normal, and I think that's a normal thing to say. I'm not gonna be playing the clips or anything like that for obvious reasons. Also, from what I'm seeing from this woman, I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'm misguided in my judgment, but she seems to be a titty streamer. So, is this a fetish? Maybe? Highly possible? Cannot confirm nor deny, but I will link into... yeah, kinda. I don't know, I don't think fetish content should be on Twitch either. And you can complain about me if you think that's fair, but I don't think I'm wrong. I'm usually not wrong when talking about this stuff. Now, let's get into it. Sci-fi and cyberpunk media did not prepare you all for this one. Twitch streamer Fandy is currently going viral online for giving birth during an 8-hour live stream for nearly 30,000 viewers. As any experienced Twitch streamers would do, Fandy helpfully gave viewers a heads up beforehand. Like what I just browsed, I think I'm going and just doing this live. Baby time! Emoji face. Fandy posted alongside the selfie. But why? Fanny had a home birth surrounded by friends, family, and 2 birthing specialists during a live stream that was tagged as World of Warcraft gameplay. Look, I'm not a big fan of kids. Calling them little goblins or little trolls, it's a little bit too far, even for me. Viewers were largely in shock, wondering if she was actually going to go through with it, and if this was truly the first birth on Twitch. After all, birth can be difficult. It can be a difficult, messy affair. It's not uncommon for laboring mothers to vomit, fart, or pass stool. Birth itself could have complications that would play out on camera, and viewers will be able to react in real time as there didn't seem to be a streaming delay. Unsurprisingly, I suppose. The birth was also happening earlier than Fandy expected. Okay. So, I don't think they were showing the full birth going on, but I'm pretty sure all of this here is against TOS. Maybe not farting, but vomiting and shitting on camera. It is against TOS. They might have a caveat with the vomiting because it's not induced, it's not necessarily damaging. Once again, why are you exposing yourself to that? I don't think that's a good idea. Before prime time, real life bystanders told viewers that they were hoping to avoid the possibility of a 24-hour live stream. Trying to take sharp, deep breaths, she can be seen checking Twitch chat on her phone. There's also a giant display in the background dedicated to her channel's Twitch chat. Fans watch along as Fandy was examined by a midwife who prepared her for the proceedings. During this time, viewers commented on everything from the baby's heartbeat to Fandy deliberating over the positioning for delivery. But 45 minutes in, the birthing professionals can be seen prepping the area with plenty of towers with the snipers. I guess they mean towels. Polygon? This is the second typo here. You need an editor. Plastic coverings and enlarging an inflatable pool. Rumors spread about the unusual live stream. The chat saw an influx of strangers who don't typically watch Fandy's content, and there's the main problem. They're doing something so extremely strange that obviously that's gonna garner some sort of tracking and virality. Is that necessarily wrong? No, it's not. But once again, if you don't punish something like this, you're only inviting people to keep doing this, which I don't think should happen. At that point, viewers began debating whether Fandy should have been live streaming any feed at all. Probably not. Critics called the stunt cringe, potentially unsafe, and wonder if it was even allowed under Twitch's content guidelines. I'm actually not quite sure. I don't think there's a caveat for giving birth on a stream, because who would do that? There's going to be somebody at some point. I don't think this should be allowed going forward, at least. Sure, we didn't consider this. You know what? It happened once. It's not gonna happen again. No rules. Fuck you, people. Notably, Fandy's live stream never showcases any nudity and is not sexual in nature. Okay. I don't know too much about this woman. That's something I can say. Something I can assure you of. However, I originally had a different article for this that I completely avoided. I think it was from the Daily Mail. That I avoided showing because she had some photographs on there that seemed perhaps a little bit too spicy. Anything will be spicy enough to get me banned or anything like that. But you know, why risk it? Even though that's allowed on Twitch apparently. Since it's not sexual in nature, I don't know about that. This prohibits graphic content, but much of the birth happens behind the front of the camera. Twitch does allow for educational content, but requires streamers to tag anything that could feature mature themes. Realistically, though, the existing Twitch rules likely do not account for the possibility of a streamer birthing a baby on the platform. So far, Fundy hasn't been banned. In fact, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy dropped in on the stream to wish her well and offer congratulations, while I wouldn't expect any less from Gunnar Clancy, of all people. I don't think she's gonna get banned anytime soon anyway. Not with that fucking guy. Much of the live stream is low-key, as Fanny lays on her side, waiting for nature to take its course. She appears to be in pain, and her support network can be seen holding her hands or rubbing her back. A birthing specialist emphasized that the birth could move to a hospital if needed. They start picking up around 5.5 hours in. I mean, yeah, giving birth is not... Whoop, whoop, baby's out. That's usually not that easy, but... God... Imagine you're streaming all of that. That's crazy. At which point the pair seems unbearable for Fandy. She screams, moans, and cries. About the 6 hours in, Fandy goes into the pool and things start to go into overdrive. Just push into that sensation, and the wife tells Fandy, who responds with an excruciating... I need water. My tongue is too dry for this. Excruciating! Oh god. Okay, I don't think this is necessarily self-induced pain, but I think it's close enough. So maybe this is actually enough to ban somebody, because it actually breaks the OS. In theory, if I'm not mistaken, on Twitch you cannot harm yourself just to produce content. So... Sure, the baby's another entity and all that, but at the same time, to some extent, you're doing this to yourself. I think we can make an argument for an actual ban here, actually. Well, this transpires, the chat becomes a sea of emotes referencing everything from 4chan memes to the Legend of Zelda's Tingle. Okay, that's a little bit strange. Chat displaying a particular predilection for typing push in all caps as Fandy tries her best to hold it together. It's gonna be crazy intense. On the other side of that is bliss, and my wife tells Fandy mid-contractions. It is just under 8 hours for the baby's head to become visible. Once it starts running, everything else happens quickly. Baby comes out and begins crying almost immediately. It's a girl. The chat erupts into endless purple hearts, which is a shorthand for Twitch itself. Rather than passing out cigars, Twitch chat ups to give each other subscriptions to Fandy's stream. Oh no! How did that happen? The monitoring gang, imagine my shock. The live stream doesn't end after the baby arrives. Instead, the crew rearranges the camera into a new location, where Fandy lays down with her baby as the birthing specialists help her deliver the placenta. So... that feels like a little bit too much. I don't know about this. Can we shame these people? For real? Can we shame these people? Can we stop glorifying this strange showcase of... It's not generate to have a baby, but she shouldn't be showing this. This shouldn't be Twitch content. Having babies is actually really positive. Not like this. This should be a private matter. I'm sorry. Honestly, the whole thing is an incredible yet surreal spectacle that's worth scrolling through. Beyond the whole miracle of life things, of life thing, it's worth to watch an army of humans reacting in real time. I think too much about life and death, I guess. While many of them say inane things like, I was here, there's no shortage of ridiculous responses to fund this boundary-breaking stream. Those are my favorite highlights. Favorite, by the way, sure. Tend to backseat the birth as a main expert as a Twitch chatter. Character creation in real time. Okay, that's kinda silly. Shouldn't this be a hot topic stream? I've not voted on a name yet. If you're selling milk, I'm buying. Okay, pal. There had to be somebody. If you can hear this, I want you to subconsciously remember this word. Poggers. Oh my god, dude. I thought it was Twitch. Looks like Reddit nowadays. This baby does not understand content scheduling at all. Little dude is gonna watch their own birth and VOD back in 15 years. I wouldn't want to watch it. I'm gonna be real. Find the game pause, I gotta poop. Okay. So, no World of Warcraft then? Final stand, pop, ults, and push. Find take our energy. I never thought I would be watching a childbirth at 3 AM on the internet, but here we are. For her troubles, funding gained 5,000 new followers on Twitch, and millions of impressions on social media sites like Twitter. Is this the whole thing dystopian? Maybe. What do you mean maybe? Clearly. But then again, everyone run fandom at the moment behind the phone camera as well. When Twitch streamers do everything from eat and sleep in front of eager eyeballs, it's shocking that it took this long for best to happen on Twitch. This comes to show the absolute degeneracy of modern times. Because people understand, or understood back in the day, the importance of that maybe some things should be private. Not anymore. Everything nowadays has to be a big show. So that's what we have. A circus. A proper circus. I guess we can take a look at what they mention here. Welcome to the world, child. From the moment you came into this world, you were reduced to content to be consumed and monetized. What a time to be alive! And it's kind of bad. But it's deeply unsettling and disturbing. Yeah. Okay, that's kind of funny. Isn't this Death Stranding? What even is this world we're living in right now? A thumbs down. You're the youngest streamer ever on this planet. I guess that is true. Yeah, I don't see a lot of support for this. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of this kind of clown show, I'm afraid. Of course, people are gonna keep pushing the boundaries. Because if they keep pushing the boundaries, at some point, it's gonna sell enough. Oh, look, I went viral. Well, yeah, you got like 5,000 followers, which is probably a lot. Because yesterday she had like about 800 CCV, 900 maybe. So yeah, 5,000 followers at the point. It's probably pretty big boom. Disgusting. Truly disgusting. But wait, there is more. There's always more, I'm afraid. This time, it's not that funny. Korean streamer murdered after arguing with the AP viewer who donated $70,000 to her. Wow, keeps happening. And people will tell you, oh, but the tubers, it's so unhealthy. The parasocial relationships. The second time, I think this year, that this happens, they were not VTubers. Sure, they were Asian streamers. They were not tubers. I don't know how to tell you this. But I'm seeing worse stuff. Parasocial stuff, wise, I guess. From the fleshies, funny enough. And it's clear to me that, how to say this? Of course you can show your support to your favorite content creators, right? You can donate to them, it's pretty useful. And the content creators are going to appreciate it, obviously, right? But then we have a problem. When you donate huge amounts like this, 70,000, that's way too much. That's a lot of money. That's not healthy. And some people have said, do not. Just do not. I guess they're trying to achieve something else, something more, that's not the way to do it. You're only putting yourself into a deeper chasm, I suppose. Donating, always fine. Doing something like this, excessive. I don't talking about the murdering, I'm talking about these huge donations. It's way too much. Kringer's streamer has been found dead, and a viewer has been arrested for murder after donating tens of thousands of dollars to her. Gia? I'm not quite sure, it's a Korean name. A TikToker and live streamer with over 300,000 followers was discovered on a mountainside in Muju County, North Jeolla Province, on September 11th. Couldn't be any other day. Her body showed signs of bruising and strangulation. Police believe she was killed about 30 minutes after her final broadcast ended. The suspect, in his 50s, identified only as Choi, was a long-time supporter who had donated roughly 100 million won, about 70,000 USD, under the nickname Black Cat. He allegedly told Young he was the CEO of an IT company, but reports later revealed he was deeply in debt and his sum had been seized in a forced auction. Okay, do not go in debt for your favorite content creators, okay? Do not. Your content creators don't want to see that happening. Most of them don't, obviously. You also have some strange people that will... they won't mind if you completely screw yourself over as long as you're donating, which is kinda nasty. Do not donate to those people. According to Chosen, Choi convinced Young to enter a business partnership with him after becoming a VIP level donor on her live streams. However, Young had recently tried to cut ties, reportedly exhausted by his controlling behavior and demanding schedule. Of course. Young confessed to killing a streamer over a business dispute. CCTV footage captured Choi kneeling and begging Young shortly before the killing. Investigators believe the fatal encounter occurred around 3:27 p.m. Extremely specific. I mean, with the cameras I think it says it right. When Young was seen being pulled back into her car against her will. Her cause of death was confirmed as asphyxiation due to neck compression. After the murder, Choi was seen carrying a suitcase and making multiple stops to throw police off his trail, before abandoning Young's body on the mountainside. He was arrested 12 hours later. I guess it didn't work. Well, he originally denied Why am I struggling so much? While he originally denied killing the streamer, he confessed after the authorities found the body. The case has shaken Korea's streaming community and renewed fears over pro-social fans, relationships spiraling into violence. This isn't the first time a streamer has been allegedly killed by a fan. Earlier this year, a Japanese streamer was stabbed to death while IRL streaming to over 6,000 people in Tokyo. The story made international headlines and even made big streamers such as Kyoto Centrella afraid to attend TwitchCon 2025 out of fear that something similar could happen. I don't think that's gonna make people in the West fearful of going to IRL events. That might be me. Four major creators such as Asmongold, Hazang, and Valkyrie have dropped out of the event. Also, did it happen? Maybe it was a couple of years ago. It's been a hot minute. It's been a hot minute for sure. But I do remember another event of similar proportions. Not proportions, I guess, but of similar dynamics, I guess. I don't remember the streamer that suffered this, but there was a thing about, I'm pretty sure it was a female streamer that had a fan fly to her home and put fire to her car. Yeah, that's not normal. That's not good. If you're having that kind of thoughts, maybe not, okay? Maybe not. Maybe take a step back. Maybe, as they say, touch grass. Stop watching. Do something else. Do not become a criminal, for your own sake, and for the sake of the potential victims. I think that's a fair thing to say here. And I've seen, I think it was Moist critical? Because I think Asmongold even though he talked about this, he already had those turned off. But I'm pretty sure it was Charlie, not Charlie Kirk, but don't know his full name. Moist critical, that guy. I think he mentioned something about turning off all of his donation stuff, so people don't have to worry, and I guess he doesn't have to worry about something like this happening. I don't think something like this would happen to somebody like Charlie, but you know, at this point in time, who knows? Who knows, really, that could happen, I suppose. And given that this keeps happening, given the uptake in violence, especially we talk about political violence and all that, why are people still going to TwitchCon? Only seems like troubles to me. Once again, I can understand networking and all that, but it's the age of the internet. Networking cannot be that difficult. I don't think it has to be done in person. Maybe that's me not knowing anything about the industry, I suppose. What do we have here? Oh, yes. Speaking of politics, I guess, let me pause the music for a second here. There we go. I saw this clip the other day, and I thought it was hilarious. So of course, when we're gonna look at it. It's a short clip. Look, it's Bobby Kennedy, so it's a little bit of scuffs. Please understand, okay? It's the cause of an illness. RFK, there's two studies which show children who are circumcised early have double the rate of autism. Strongly likely because they were given Tylenol.
There's two studies that show children who are circumcised early have double the rate of autism. It's highly likely because they're given Tylenol. So, you know, none of this is dispositive, but all of it is stuff that we should be paying attention to.
See, that's kind of funny. It's kind of funny. If you got trimmed, you might be autistic. What a strange connection. What a strange connection. It is a hilarious thing to see, but if what they mentioned about Tylenol's actually real, which I have no reason not to believe it, yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense. Maybe that's why not recommended for kids, after all. Even though they're actually giving Tylenol to kids here, I suppose. We have... Here's somebody mentioning correlation is not causation. I mean, sure, but at the same time, I think we have several correlations here that point to the same possible causation. I'm not saying it's obviously Tylenol, but I think it's a reasonable possibility, I suppose. I think it's reasonable. Now you know what they took from you. What do we have here? Oh yeah, this thing. This thing is kinda funny. So, we talked before about the Bruit card in the UK, the digital ID and all that. And the first thing I saw was, this is gonna be terrible. The government is always, at the bare minimum, 10 to 15 years behind tech-wise, because I've seen that first person as somebody that delves in tech, right? So, even though they tell you it's state-of-the-art technology, even if they tell you there's not going to be any possible problem, there's going to be problems, especially security-wise. Boy, how did I know? Okay, the digital ID system has already been hacked twice. No one noticed until informed by the hackers. The UK is cooked. I tried to find more information on this. I haven't seen any actual articles on this, I'm afraid. I guess I could have looked up this tweet, and I didn't. That's on me. We can look that up now, if need be. From Basil the Great, the digital ID system has already been hacked twice that they know of. That they know of, by the way. Their team says it was hacked earlier this year. Government's response was to disband the team and hush it up. It was like a gang, and no one noticed until they were informed by the hackers. Disaster is coming. And even though I find digital ID to be extremely dystopic in nature, because why would you need that? You already have an ID, and you can use that ID for things that usually use IDs. There's nothing wrong with that. Why do you have to divulge potentially all of your personal information just to go, I don't know, into Discord, I don't know, into YouTube, I don't know, into Steam, right? Because they also could get hacked, or there could be bad actors. Even then, that sometimes pales in comparison with the government incompetence. Because of course, the government is gonna be incompetent. Of course, the government is gonna make something that's barely functional. And let's say we live in a beautiful world, we have really competent politicians, we have really competent governments. I know. This is sheer fantasy, but please understand. Let's say the government actually came up with a really robust and really well-made app for the digital ID. Would that still be secure? No! It would never be secure, but because you have to run it on a smartphone. I'm shaking my phone in anger, even though you cannot see it. I'll be a menace with hand tracking, by the way. And it's not the app's fault, it's not the app's fault. It's the phone's fault. Smartphones are extremely frail security-wise. So this was a bad idea from the get-go. Best case scenario, you're gonna get hacked anyway. And this happened. How did I know? Well, let me tell you. Yeah, here this guy. Turkish IT system hacked 4 times, maybe 5. Nobody knows. UK will learn to live with it. Well, it's kinda funny. It's kinda funny. It's kinda funny. Stormer is just a man child who's trying to get the last laugh against a population who anonymously despises him by fucking up the country as much as possible. I don't know if Kiro Starmer's that skilled. It's Kier, not skilled Starmer. Not even Kiro skilled, mind you. It was bound to happen sooner or later. It was probably gonna happen sooner anyway. Well, it happened before it rolled out. Imagine my fucking shock. And something I hadn't seen before in this really fun screenshot. Red card wallet. If you stack this on top of digital currency, like as we've seen a couple of weeks ago, the digital euro and whatnot, it's something that's really easy to get hacked, and something that has potentially everything that you are and that you own. This is worse than anarchy. This is worse than anarchy. Because when you live in pure anarchy, even though there are supposed to be no rules, you have to live by your own rules and you have to defend yourself. In this, you can't defend yourself because this comes from above. Not the good kind of above, I'm afraid. So much for democracy, I suppose. It keeps happening. I don't know why, but it keeps happening. It's so strange. I don't like this. And it's not the only one that has suffered something like this. Do you remember the Discord hack we read about, I think it was last week? It's worse than you think. Like an age verification firm may have exposed 70,000 Discord users' ID photos. Second time we see this number, by the way. Kinda funny. Names, email addresses, and other contact details of users from around the world could also have been taken. Wow! Who saw that coming? Who saw that coming? I think it's really obvious. Government ID photos of about 70,000 global users of Discord and popular messaging in chat platform among video gamers may have been exposed after hackers compromised the company contracted to carry out age verification checks. Some users' names, email addresses, goddamn, and other contact details, IP addresses and messages with Discord's customer service agents may have been taken. I'm assuming full legal name with this. Other content details I think might include full ID with the image, IP addresses, also never good. The attacker has been trying to store the ransom from the company. No credit card details or passwords were seized. The breach was made public last week, but the potential number of lost photo IDs emerged on Wednesday. A spokesperson for the UK's Information Commissioner's office, which regulates data breaches, said, "We have received the reports from Discord and we assessed the information provided." I don't know if they're gonna mention the full situation with Discord here. I think I heard something about it, I'm not quite sure. The effects that might have been taken were provided by users making age-related appeals to Discord's customer services contractor in cases where they may have been locked out of the Take It All platform, which allows people to hang out through text messaging or voice and video chat. Some countries, including the UK, require social media and messaging providers to carry out age checks to ensure child safety, endangering everybody else. That's the point, by the way. That's the point. Cybersecurity experts have warned of a risk that some providers of such checks, which can require government IDs, are becoming hacker targets, with bad actors aware of the high volume of sensitive data. No shit, Sherlock! What did you expect? That's really obvious. You have sensitive information, they're gonna get your ass. It's gonna happen every time. Recently, we discovered an incident where an unauthorized party compromised one of Discord's third-party customer services providers. Discord said in a statement, the unauthorized party didn't gain access to information from a limited number of users who had contacted Discord through our customer support and /or through our safety teams. Of the accounts impacted globally, we have identified approximately 70,000 users that might have had government ID photos exposed, which are rather used to review age-related appeals. And this was always going to be a problem when you had to show your ID. And sure, you have to show your ID if you want to buy a couple of beers, maybe, if you're not old enough, or if you don't look old enough, I'm trying to say. However, you showing your ID to a cleric is something that's limited. However, this is not what's going on. This is the full information on the ID stored potentially forever. Of course, you're gonna have bad actors acting up on that. You have full legal name, you have the funny ID numbers, you have the photograph, you have address. You may have potentially some more information over that. It's not good. It's not good. It was bound to happen. Why didn't this happen before? Well, hackers are not interested if you don't have the correct information, because they cannot extort you or steal data, I suppose. This required people who needed to prove their age to get back onto the platform to upload an image of their photo ID and Discord username. This reminds me a lot, by the way, of the goof times. But you have to show proof of vaccination. You have to show proof of vaccination to go into a cafe, for example. That doesn't make any sense. That is sensitive information. Fun enough, within European law, that's also illegal, because that information is protected. It is protected information. And why would you give somebody like a waiter, for example, sensitive medical information that they are not allowed, or not allowed, but normally they aren't allowed to see? They shouldn't have any interest, but they are not prepared to bars. It made no sense. Then again, as some people have mentioned before, that was just a test trial. Ethan Webb, a principal consultant of the UK digital security company Acumen Cyber, said the breach was very concerning. Despite age verification being outsourced, businesses still have an accountability to ensure that data is stored appropriately. Data stored in the vaults. It's important for organizations to recognize that delegating certain processes does not absolve the responsibility to hold data protection and security standards. It's not even that. It's not even that. Sure, they're gonna delegate those processes because they don't know how to do them. Even then, even if you have an actual system through Discord to check for ID and whatnot, that can still be hacked. And if it can be hacked, it will be hacked at some point. How do we know this? Discord has been hacked before. Of course. Of course that's gonna happen. Of course that can happen. Why is this a surprise? It shouldn't be a surprise. And then again, this is not a bug, this is a feature. I don't know why, but this is an actual feature of Digital ID. Okay, I think I need to blow my nose. I'm getting a little bit sniffly. Give me a second. Not surprising. Not surprising that this is happening, I'm afraid. Let me take a sip here. And this has been normalized for far too long. Using your data as nothing more than currency. That I do find extremely disgusting. So no wonder people nowadays have no sense of privacy anyway. What did you think? This is the only thing that's happening with IDs. I have bad news for you. The 3,000 fraud victims' details have been given to ChatGPT. What does that mean for privacy? This is from Australia, unsurprisingly. Not a big fan of them anyway, not the government. A New South Wales government data breach exposing up to 3,000 people has raised questions about the risks artificial intelligence pose to personal security. I don't think this is necessarily a data breach, but who knows. And this is not about AI. AI comes after the fact. AI is just the vehicle for this, make no mistake about it. I say that while not being a huge fan of AI anyway. A contractor for the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority uploaded the names, contact details and personal information, including health information, of people connected to a fraud recovery program to ChatGPT in March. Unsurprisingly, we have had a competency crisis for far too long. Every single day I'm surprised by how so many people can be so incompetent, yet they can keep their jobs. Even something so simple as being a butcher. I mean simple because it's not the same as being a data scientist, right? It shouldn't be that difficult in comparison to be a proper butcher. But it's even difficult to find a decent one in this city nowadays, which is crazy. So this is not surprising, and this was bound to happen. Is this a sinister complot from the AI to get your information? I don't think so. They could be playing the long game. I don't think that's the case. But it was just a matter of time before a lazy worker decided to upload their job to AI. I'm pretty sure this is a government worker being from the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority. That's funny squared, I'm afraid. So can private information upload to artificial intelligence platforms be found by other users? Yes, there are efforts in AI, data and cybersecurity to explain. They're trying to downplay this. But the problem is actually bigger, and I can explain somewhat properly at the end, I think. What has happened to the data? It is hard to know for sure, but it is possible data from the bridge was included in the information used to train ChatGPT. Queensland University of Technology Senior Research Fellow in AI Accountability, Aaron Snowswell, not Snowswell, just it snows normally, I guess. So the companies such as OpenAI, which own ChatGPT, trained and updated their AI models every few months to improve their software. The companies used an enormous amount of data to do that, including user data, unless users have opted out. This is when we... how's the meme? I don't remember. Or we... throw our heads back and laugh. Surely. Surely, they will never use your data if you tell them no. Use a bunch of mathematics to try to force these models to try to appear intelligent by mimicking what it sees in that collection of data, Dr. Snowswell said. Just like social media. CSIRO's Data 61 Senior Research Scientist Chimikara Mahawaga Arachige? Chimikara. That's not a good name. Sure, let's go with Map Chimikara. Said if personal information was inadvertently including the training information, there's more than one chance it could influence the system. Yes, like all information. There could be if other users try to track down that information by asking ChatGPT to share it. This is an error called prompt injection, where you try to manipulate your simple prompts into sophisticated prompts, so these models tend to reveal sensitive information. Dr. Chamikara said. Can data be found in ChatGPT? As when the data bridge information was used in ChatGPT training material, though that is not certain, Dr. Snowswell said it was possible someone who asked could receive it. But Dr. Snowswell said AI models did not store data in the way files were saved on a computer due to the huge amounts of information they had to process. I don't know about all that. Sure, not the models, but you must have the datasets somewhere. That's why the AI business is so expensive, I suppose. You need huge servers. Did the music die? 54 minutes in. An error occurred. Please try again. Why? Why does it keep happening? I just don't get it. I just don't get it! Stop being annoying. Starting chill Pokemon music to try and love it yourself. I'm not gonna love YouTube at this rate, that's for sure. Okay. That's probably fine. That's probably okay, I guess. YouTube, why are you like this all the time? I will never know. Oh, God fucking damn it. There we go. It's much more like a statistical soup of approximations, he said. So if you ask ChatGPT for personal information, it will likely provide an answer. But that does not mean it will be accurate. We're banking on AI to be scuffed as plausible deniability. I don't know if that's the route you wanna take. The models tend to try and please the user, Dr. Snowswell said. They will try and comply with your request, even if that means making things up. You wouldn't be able to trust what it says, necessarily. So you're telling me AI is just BS, which is kinda funny. It is kinda funny when you think about it. It's not a big deal, because AI is trash. About that, I don't know. Also, we have the obvious possibility of somebody hearing this, trying to get information, sensible information on some people, and trying to contrast that information with some stuff that might be public information. Like, depending on the country, I suppose. I don't think that's the case here. I think that happens in the US. Don't know if that happens in Australia either. Like, voter registry. And I think there's some sort of information with phones, maybe phone numbers. I'm not quite sure how that works. So potentially they could try to contrast the information they have and see if this is actually real, and try to surmise if the rest of the information is also correct. Just saying it doesn't matter means that you lack creativity in how you use your AI. As serious with this kind of breach, Australia, like much of the world, has seen several significant data breaches over the last few years. Think Optus and Medibank. I think Medibank sounds familiar. Optus now as well said the Reconstruction Authority breach appeared to have been accidental, not malicious. It doesn't matter, but sure. Data has been uploaded to one unauthorized third party rather than stolen by someone maliciously, and they'll sold onto other parties or maybe used in a ransom situation, he said. That doesn't mean... See, this is the problem. Data has been uploaded to one unauthorized third party than being stolen. You're saying this is accidental? I don't think so. You usually don't accidentally upload information like this about 3,000 people to ChatGPT. This is somebody trying to cut corners. And you're trying to tell me something like that is not necessarily malicious. Well, it's not virtuous either, so... I don't know. I don't know. I don't think this is an honest mistake. I think this was done on purpose. Not for the information to be in ChatGPT, but once again, because you have a lazy worker. That's never good. Data has been uploaded to one unauthorized third party, rather than stolen by someone maliciously. Sure, what else do we have? According to Dr. Chamikara, the worst case scenario would be if the data was seen by someone who was in a position to copy it. If it was copied elsewhere, it could be used for scams or identity theft. But that seems unlikely here, we have to assume some risks remain. What should concerned people do? Not be fang at the government, I guess. People including this data breach will be contacted by the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority in the coming week. The authority said it was working with cybersecurity New South Wales. What a mouthful. To monitor the internet and dark web to determine whether any of the information was accessible online. But said, at this stage, there was no evidence it had been accessed by a third party. A government agency called ID Support New South Wales also provided expert advice, free resources, and personal support for people affected by data breaches. That's kinda long. Dr. Chimikara said it was always a good idea to take some broader precautions. Change passwords, enable two-factor authentication, the services they are involved with, he said. If using actual ID, you're gonna be fucked no matter what. You cannot issue a new one with different numbers and different information, because that reflects your actual legal information. Watch for suspicious emails, calls, or messages, and never click on the links available in these emails or messages. Keep an eye on bank or credit activities, whether there are any surprises. Your steps go a long way to staying safe. Instead of using AI software, Dr. Chimikara said it was important to treat these services as if they were public forums. Don't trust these kinds of services as if they are your buddy, he said. Not wrong. But do not tell me this is completely accidental. It is not. It is malicious ignorance, I say. Can data be removed from ChatGPT? Yes, Lamau. That's a cope. OpenAI has a function allowing users to ask for their personal data to be removed from ChatGPT. You're trusting too much in the company. You're trusting them too much. I don't think they have any reason to actually comply with this. And I don't think you have an actual way of checking if they did, given how AI works. If you have evidence suggesting your personal data has been inadvertently captured, you can search for the OpenAI Privacy Center and make a personal data removal request. They'll do their best to remove the data, potentially, but the catch here is that here in Australia, Their laws are not as strong as some other countries, Dr. Oswald said. Make no mistake about it, those data protection laws will do fuck all. Okay? Kind of laws, they sound great, they do nothing. So I'll tell you this, they do potentially nothing, I should say. They're not that good in actuality. So, yeah. What's a matter of time after all? Shame. Shame! Ah, man, oh man. At the same time, this, I'd say this took long enough to happen. People nowadays are extremely incompetent and extremely lazy. They cannot be asked to do their job, even if their job is actually easy, which is outlandish to me. So this shit happens, which is not good. So yeah, I wonder how many government workers, not just in Australia, upload all sorts of sensitive information to different AIs. And make no mistake about that, that AI will always learn from those inputs. And I don't think there's much you can do about it, despite what they tell you here about OpenAI. Speaking of OpenAI though, and everything is sunshine and rainbows, I'm afraid. OpenAI Sora is a corporate nightmare for Nintendo and anime creators. Generative video apps recreate media-like anime and games with incredible fidelity. I mean, if you're lucky with the prompt, obviously. This past week has been kind of interesting with this AI. It was cocked immediately, so of course we can have fun. Because even though I do not think you could use the likeness of actual people, living people, that was not everything that was going on. I'm seeing a bunch of parodies, I suppose, with Michael Jackson having arguments with Adolf Hitler. Hilarious, if you ask me. But it is not without clown shenanigans, I'm afraid. Like, a lot of people try to show videos showing Robin Williams to her daughter. Do not do that, you fucking freak. What's wrong with you? So yeah, the AI got extremely cocked. It was bound to happen. Also, yeah, copyright. What about it? Copyright laws are a little bit strange. Some people say are excessive, but at the same time, you cannot be extremely lax with copyright, I don't think. You need to strike a balance, and I don't know what the balance is. So OpenAI's generative video app has only been out for a week, yet it has already opened the proverbial can of worms for the artificial intelligence organization. It has gravitated toward styles and figures from pop culture, where Sora has generated a ton of media related to major anime and video game franchises. I guess, of course. OpenAI simply did not implement many measures to protect rights holders against their copyrighted content being used as a quest for generative AI. How do you do that with AI, though? How close is too close? What if I just describe Pikachu without saying Pikachu? Is that illegal now? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Has Nintendo all of the copyrights for electric yellow rats? Maybe. The message prompted OpenAI CEO Sam Altman to issue a statement on the guardrails so our users can expect in the near future. It's already happening. Apparently it's extremely cocked now. It happens all the time. You get a lot of fun with AI, and in less than 2 days, it dies. Like ChatGPT sort of text prompts from users to generate content. It scans video footage. Its prompts are expansive. Users can do anything from create convincing deepfake versions of real people to copying specific visual aesthetics. One clip that's gone viral since Sora went live depicts none other than OpenAI CEO Sam Altman grilling and slicing open a realistic Pikachu. I haven't seen that one, actually. Developed Pokemon mascot. Another popular video prompted Sora to create a fake Cyberpunk 2077 mission. Curiously, the app spit back something that seemed to be based on an actual in-game level, with details like the voice acting and vehicle designs bearing an uncanny resemblance to its source material. What did you expect? When AI is trash in, trash out. This is legitimately mind-blowing. How the fact that Sora 2 have such a perfect memory of the Cyberpunk Inside mission that it knows the map, location, biome/terrain, vehicle design, voices, and even the name of the gun you're fighting for, without being prompted for any of that, because it's scouring the internet for the information. Obviously so, especially YouTube, I assume. So capabilities are sparking much discourse on the potential dangers of misinformation or security issues inherent to convincing footage involving real-world figures. Convincing. I've seen a lot of people, especially older people, fall for hilarious AI. Oh my god, how did that happen? What do you mean, how did that happen? Like, this strange meta that's been going around for weeks on, I think it's supposed to be like Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, some sort of lizardman platform. With the old fat women with rocks breaking glass bridges. Oh my god, how did that happen? And just in the video, you're like, okay, but the people falling to their, not demise because there's water below. They're transforming into dolphins. Mid-air, that's crazy. Is it possible to learn this power? Everything is possible. Through the advent of communism, I mean AI. Also, since of course, war footage. How did that happen? Isn't that incredible? Call it AI or Arma 3. And Arma 3 is not a new game anyway. That's crazy to me. How the fuck does it happen? It's insane. But yeah, people keep falling for that. And I do remember, way back in the day, right? When it was first getting into the internet. I remember my mother telling me, do not believe everything they tell you on the internet. There's bad people outside. There's bad people on the internet. You never know. Do not believe somebody if he tells you he's a chicken nugget. She didn't tell me that. Maybe she should have. That was a strange thing that happened many years ago. I do remember. Especially back then. Oh boy, but all of this is so unreal. Everything here is just edited footage. This is just Photoshop. Now you're thinking, I don't know, let's say 20 years. Give or take 20 years, right? About 20 years. It's not gonna be easier to edit images. It's not gonna be easier to edit video. It's not gonna be easier to just lie to you blatantly. So I guess it's not surprising how people fall for journalist lies at the same time, right? Even though we weren't talking about them, always be on guard. I'm after you, people. Wow. I'd be in absolute danger if I had hand tracking. I don't think it's that expensive, but I don't think you need it. Wow. Could be hilarious. I need to look into that. Maybe. I don't know. Where was I? Right here thing. The question over how Sora is able to depict the subjects with such fidelity, what the OpenAI used to achieve that effect, is also lingering in the air. According to the Wall Street Journal, OpenAI is asking copyright holders to opt out. Some companies suddenly took OpenAI up on the offer, or at least the app has stringent blocks against generating anything that could be mistaken for a Marvel or Disney property. Well, isn't Marvel inside Disney nowadays? I think that is true. Nah, God forbid that happens. Japanese entertainment companies, on the other hand, seem to be treated the Sora game by Sora's inner logic. The app is capable of recreating the look and feel of anime like Attack on Titan, Dragon Ball Z, and One Piece with startling fidelity, a reality that sparked criticism from the public. Japanese politician Akihisa Shiozaki, in particular, has led the charge by holding an urgent meeting with Japanese government officials to discuss what should be done with regard to intellectual property rights in the country. Look, nobody here likes copyright law, okay? We all know that copyright law is extremely powerful. It's extremely... limiting, I guess, and it's active for way too long. What this AI is doing is just enforcing copyright laws instead of making them more lax. How about the lax, I guess? So I don't know if this is gonna be... I don't think we're gonna have a good resolution to all of this, sadly. And I'm not a big fan of AI, but I'm not anti-AI. My problem with AI is that I don't find it to be that useful. It can be used for memes, and something can be hilarious, sure. But when you have movies or games just using too much AI, it shows. Okay, it shows, and you know, something is being lost here. For the sake of convenience. Video on that song, by the way. Doesn't have anything to do with AI, but still. With concern that technology-like stories devour Japanese culture, reportedly people within the gathering were requesting that the government take swift action. And we can see here. So Melanie, hope Nintendo doesn't sue us. That's kinda loud. We can see here. Pikachu, Bulbasaur. You can see a strange mix between Charmander and Growlithe, I guess. This looks like a strange mix between Shieldo and Rattata? It's really weird. A Pipe Eevee. Look into the face. Do you think this is the face of mercy? Probably not. In a blog post, Alma acknowledged the situation vaguely by noting that OpenAI was struck by how deep the connection between users and Japanese content is. Oh no! People using high tech are a bunch of fucking weebs! Where had you been your entire life? You're a tech guy, you should know this. Alman also claimed that OpenAI did discuss the ramification of its technology prior to its release. By having sworn the hands of the public has given the organization more tangible feedback. Despite this move fast and break things approach, Alman is promising the rights holders, never stakeholders here, how curious, will soon be able to exert more chrono control over relevant properties. While he didn't share specifics, the measures will extend beyond opting in or out of the app. Here's Alman. Okay, while reading this, I think there's something that can be claimed with AI, right? Because this is obviously not from Pokemon, right? Some of these Pokemons are really scuffed, right? Like, look at the blob. That's a really strange way like that, for example. Thing is, we're forced to have, like right here, the Sora watermark. I don't think that's wrong. I think that's actually really good for that. At the same time, maybe you should claim, from a legal point of view, that AI-generated content, sure, it's derivative, but it's always parody. Of course, there can always be bad actors that use the AI trying to push for something else. But then, that wouldn't be your fault as the company, that would be the user. Isn't this somewhat like 230 protection? I don't know if that would work. But I think that somehow makes sense. And we can say this video, it's obviously a parody. Nobody's saying otherwise. Nobody's saying this is an actual product. Nobody's saying this is actually from Nintendo. So in that regard, I think it should be okay within the law. Well, not knowing too much about the law, but I think that's legal. Here's Alman. You're hearing from a lot of rights holders who are very excited for this new kind of intrinsic foundation, and think this new kind of engagement will accrue a lot of value to them, but want the ability to specify how their characters can be used, including not at all. Yes, some different people will try very different approaches and will figure out what works for them. But we want to apply the same standard towards everyone, and let rights holders decide how to proceed. Our aim, of course, is to make it so compelling that many people want to. There may be some edge cases of generations that get through that shouldn't, and getting our stack to work well will take some iteration. Normal stuff. We're working on it. TLDR, we're working on it. Probably the guy cannot say anything else. One popular source of information for users is Nintendo, the Japanese company behind many iconic video game characters. Have you seen how litigious they are, especially in recent times? Might be a little bit scary. And if Nintendo's known for anything among hardcore enthusiasts, it's for its protective approach toward intellectual property, not just IP, but obviously IP. Coincidentally, AI-generated footage of someone saying, "I hope Nintendo doesn't sue us," that was the clip up there, also garnered much attention online. Nintendo recently denied claims that it was working with the Japanese government to prevent generative AI from using its IP. It did, however, reiterate its general stance on unauthorized usage of its creations. What is the line, though? Are parties fine? They are not suing PET after all, so who knows? Whether generative AI... well, I don't think they did, it's been a long time. Whether generative AI is involved or not, we'll continue to take necessary actions against infringement of our intellectual property rights, Nintendo said in a social media post. But... I have to say this. Not that I'm an AI shield or anything like that, but AI is nothing more than a tool, right? If I get an AI, any kind of AI, I don't know too much about AI, I guess. Let's say it was using Sora 2, because this is the example we have, to create, I don't know, videos of... I have no idea. Let's say Nintendo, right? Let's go with Pokemon. Like doing some sort of mock-up of what would be a Gen 2 remake using just 2D pixel art, but high-quality pixel art, right? If it's me that I'm doing the prompts, if it's me that I'm trying to bring up a product, in this case, a clip of 10 seconds, that resembles an IP that I do not own, the problem is mine. I'm doing something that's not allowed. It's not monetized, it's parody, it's derivative. I don't think that's necessarily wrong. I'm just trying to give a quick example here. I don't think OpenAI should be penalized for that. Right? It would be the same as, I don't know, if I did some sort of really unsavory fan art from Pokemon games, right? Using something that's completely free, like GIMP. It's not GIMP's fault that I made that. I made it. I just used GIMP as a tool. Sure, you need more skills to draw than to use AI, because they're not creating the models themselves or the drawings themselves. That's the AI. But once again, if I'm fully describing Pikachu to the AI, and the AI produces Pikachu, that's not copyright infringement from the AI itself, because it's only a tool. Because I made the tool produce that. I don't know if I'm making any sense here, but I think I'm being quite sensible here. It's not necessarily AI's fault in this case. You had the users, right? It's not like the AI itself is pushing Michael Jackson versus Adolf Hitler. It's people prompting that. And I don't think that's wrong. It's obvious parody. But if you would get into legal trouble. I killed somebody. Was it my fault or was it the weapon's fault? I was the weapon. Well, no, I used the weapon, right? That's the most obvious example. I guess AI is something really new, and you don't really have defined batteries in what it does. So I guess it's a little bit complex. But people are harping too much onto AI, because I guess people are scared of AI. And I understand it, okay? It's new technology, it's evolving quickly, that's for sure. And it could be a big problem for some, and I wasn't planning on talking about this, but let's talk about artists on Twitter, right? I do think that the traditional artist is a pretty interesting job, and I don't think it should disappear to AI, right? But we've seen on Twitter many times artists, some, obviously only some, complaining of their customers, or clients in this case, I guess. They're showing them AI references. And I'm like, okay, but that makes sense. They are showing you references made with AI, because they cannot draw properly, who made references themselves. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you become so much of a fucking bitch, and you're so annoying to work with, they will start using AI, because they don't want to deal with you. And that's really bad. I don't think that should happen. And sure, what they say too about artists, right? It's some sort of a luxury job. Because realistically speaking, not a lot of people need art. It's somewhat of a luxury. And sure, I guess that's fair. But that doesn't mean it should disappear. That doesn't mean people are entitled to buying art either, right? When you see most people, they will use AI for something that they wouldn't pay an artist for anyway, right? For example, my background is actually made with AI. It took me a bunch of generations until I got something that I liked. And it's simple and I like it. I wouldn't pay anybody to make anything like this. I would try to make it on my own, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Also, we have other kinds of problems here. That's, yes, I understand that there is going to be an impact into the working force similar to that of the Industrial Revolution and the automation of jobs. This helps you automate more jobs. For better or for worse, I'm not quite sure if some of the jobs should be automated just yet with AI, but it's gonna happen anyway. I have to admit that the AI in itself prompts a bunch of really interesting and difficult questions about the evolution of humanity and society. But I don't think that's a discussion for today. Okay, what are you gonna do when you have a lot of people that cannot really work because they're not as good as normal AI? That's gonna be a big problem. That's gonna be a big problem. Surprisingly enough, manual jobs are not being overtaken by AI. That makes sense. Okay, speaking of Japanese companies, we have some good news here. Japanese game and common platform DLSite launches its own payment alternative following Visa and MasterCard suspensions. Following suspension of transactions via Visa and MasterCard, DLSite has launched a semi-house payment alternative. Finally. This has to be done. Because if Visa, MasterCard, and I don't know if they're actually fucking you over too, but American experts are fucking you over, you need alternatives. What is the problem? Not a lot of people can come up with alternatives. It's kind of expensive. You need a lot of, how do they call it? Brain, please work with me sometimes. I'm a little bit scattered today. I'm sorry. Infrastructure. So, it's not that easy, right? But competition is always good. DLSite, a major platform hosting digital content like games and doujinshi, introduced a new semi-house payment method on October 6th, following suspensions of international credit card brands like Visa and MasterCard on the platform. The new alternative, dubbed Mina no Ginko payment, meaning everyone's bank, that's kinda funny, is being presented as a seamless instant payment service that the Japanese digital bank called Mina no Ginko. Oh, so they have an actual bank that's called everyone's bank. That's kinda silly. The announcement comes in the wake of escalating pressure from payment processors regarding adult content hosted on DLSite. In April 2024, DLSite publicly announced, I wanna be so fast, then I started skipping a bunch of words. It's really bad. Don't do it on purpose. I love speed. Not a drug. DLSite publicly announced it will temporarily disable Visa and MasterCard payments. And to this day, the domestic JCB is the only credit card brand supported on the site. Prior to suspending transactions via international credit card brands, DLSite attempted to reclassify or reward certain tags related to adult content, Like a lolly. Oh no. Oh, classic. But these efforts were deemed insufficient. Likely in response to the circumstances, DLC's parent companies, Vivian and Aces, launched the new Mina no Ginko payment method. This new system permits direct payments to DLCite by linking a user's Mina no Ginko bank account with the Vivian account ID. I hope they have good security. Thus bypassing the need for intermediaries, which is not that bad. I guess we might go back to... how do you call that? Not quite sure. I don't know how to call that in English, but I don't remember how you call that in my main language, so I cannot look that up. But yeah, not using cards, not using anything fancy, just paying through the bank. There are ways to do that, but people usually avoid that because it's annoying to do so. I guess Visa and MasterCard are becoming more inconvenient than actually going to the bank. That's not a good look for them, but maybe a good look for us. To encourage users to adopt the new payment method, DLCite is offering a bunch of discounts and rewards, but sadly the option will likely not be available for users outside of Japan. Obviously not, Japanese bank. Going to Mina no Ginko's official homepage, opening a digital bank account from overseas is not possible. I don't think it should be possible anyway, and they do not guarantee the app's operation when accessed from outside of Japan. On a related note, back in 2022, the Japanese art commission platform Skev made a similar move when it introduced its own cryptocurrency called Skev Coin. That's a solution, I guess. Likewise, in response to traditional payment options becoming limited. This was meant to happen. You can stop people from paying because the transactions are legal. They should partner with some of the new banks in the US too, or the crypto wallets that are becoming banks. I feel like they would be more cooperative to their plight. That might be something interesting. They may have some. They might come up with some sort of partnership with them in the long run. That'd be pretty useful, for sure. And see that as a net positive. So that's a big win in Japan. It's not perfect, but there are some solutions, I guess. Not too bad. Speaking of buying stuff, found this the other day. I thought it was really interesting. Do you like games? Apparently, not a lot of people buy a lot of games each year. Lower than you may think. More than 60% of US game players only buy 2 games or fewer per year. Survey finds only 4% buy more than 1 game a month. Circus data says. I'm gonna say these guys are streamers. You always have to play the new thing. I don't think that is true. But for some people that may be important, I guess, depending on their content. The majority of video game players in the United States only buy 1 or 2 games a year, a survey has found. Market research company Circus senior director Matt Piscatella. Ah, Piscatella! Italian! Mamma mia! Data from its Q3 2025 Future of Video Game Survey. Specifically, its data on purchasing frequency among players in the US. According to the data, 80% of players in the US buy a new video game about once every 6 months, while 12% buy one about once a year. That's 30% that don't buy more than one. No, wait. And 30% that don't buy more than 2 a year. I don't have to count. Survey also found that 33% of players buy a new game less often than once per year. New game. And that's to be expected. Have you seen the prices? Oh my god, they're so expensive. Look, I don't think the new Digimon game is good. I think it looks cool. But at the same time, the game's like $70 already. You don't need a season pass for $30. You don't need a bunch of DLC. And you don't need $8 DLC that's just pay to win. It's single player! What are you doing? It's too much. And some people saying that are like, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I will wait. It's too much money, dude. It's too much money for a single game. Even if the game is good. When I combine 63% of players buy 2 games or fewer every year. That's a lot of people. On the other end of the scale, 22% of players buy a new game around once every 3 months. With 10% saying they buy one roughly every month. Just 4% said they buy more than one game a month. Okay, but is this new game like new release, or is just buying a game? I do believe I buy more than 2 games a year, but I don't spend a lot because I don't really buy new releases. I buy old games. I always wait for Steam sales, and you should too. Look up the bundles. You can get really nice deals with that. Recently, speaking of recently, talking to a friend of mine. Hold up. Oh. Thanks to the autumn sales, right? It was like just barely a week. And I showed him the Bandai Namco RPG Essentials Collection with Tales of Arise, Scarlet Nexus, and Gold Vein. It was like 20 something bucks for 3 games. The full price, without any kind of sale. More than 120 bucks. It's a lot of money for 3 games. That's a lot of money. So remember that. Always be hustling. It's not the best bundle I've seen, anyway. But it's not that bad either. And mind that would put you above the 63% already. By spending what? 20 something bucks? I think it was like 22, 25, something like that. And you bought 3 games. 3. Once again. Christmas sales, I think it was. God Eater Collection. 3 games. I think it was less than 8 bucks. 3 games. Pretty good. I still need to try them at some point. Commenting on the findings, Piscatella suggested that those 14% of players who buy 1 game or more per month are mainly responsible for the continued trajectory of full-price games. 40% of players are whales. Checks out. Hyper enthusiasts, price-insensitive players are really keeping things going, especially in the non-free-to-play gaming space. Price-insensitive players is a really nice way of saying whale, or even worse, pay big. I understand want to play a new game. Sometimes new game looks really good. Sometimes new game is even actually good for once. I don't think it's normal to be paying more than 100 bucks for a single game. Because you have base game for like 70 bucks nowadays. 70 or even 80. You have like between 20 and 40 bucks on top of that for deluxe edition. And then you might have season passes, even if they're single player, a bunch of DLC and whatnot. Speaking of DLC, not a big fan of DLC, but speaking of DLC, even though they're just cosmetics, it was insane. The other day, I looked up cosmetics for Monster Hunter games on Steam. How is it possible? How is it possible that a game like Monster Hunter World has more than 500 bucks on cosmetic DLC? The meme back in the day was Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 having a billion DLC. It's more than 300 bucks. But it's actual content. It's actual missions, it's actual characters, it's actual playable things, not just bling, right? How is it possible that you have more than 500 bucks? I think it was a little bit over 500, but I'm not sure. On just cosmetics. It's insane. I think it's more than 400, only with wilds. I don't know about the price. The list was so long, Steam didn't tell me the full amount. It was really that bad. It was really that bad. It's insane. Sure, it's not just cosmetics. It's like 95% cosmetics. You have like a soundtrack and some other stupid shit on top of that. 500 bucks on DLC? Are you kidding me? That's not normal. That's not normal. Back in my day, you bought the game and everything was inside the game, and that was already good. And sometimes it wasn't good, but at the same time, are you gonna pay, I don't know, More than $500 for a single game. That's not even good. It's insane. It's insane. I'm going crazy here. As usual. We have the intuit here, I guess. Hyper enthusiast, praise and sensitive players are really keeping things going, especially in the known free-to-play gaming space. And yeah, it's pretty much this information. Okay. Piscatel also pointed out that if these numbers seem unusual, clearly because anyone who follows him already falls into that 40% bracket of players who buy a game or more per month, and therefore may not be aware of the bigger picture. Before replying, know that even seeing this post likely puts you into that hyper-enthusiast bucket. So the actions of you and your immediate cohort likely do not match those of the general gaming audience, he explained. The general gaming audience is a bunch of normies, okay? That's normal. That's normal. Now, it's a little bit insane when you have most people buying about 2 games a year, and you have game companies saying, well, video games nowadays are way too cheap. What do you mean $40? What do you mean $50? Even 70 is way too low for us. 80 plus or nothing going forward. If we can reach 100, that's gonna be even better. If you have people spending, in average, let's say they buy full price. I don't know if that's the case. Let's say you have most people spending around $120 a year on games. That means right now about 2 games. If you increase the prices so much, they're gonna be buying about 1 game per year. That's not gonna drive sales, that's going to tank sales, that's going to tank your profit. How is this something new? How do I figure this out being a stupid idiot on the internet and not these big companies? Because the big companies don't care. That's why they don't really care. They're counting on that 14% they're going to buy no matter what, until they reach a breaking point, and customers are gonna be like, okay, why am I paying like $150 for nothing? I guess I'm not gonna do it. You don't hate these people enough. It's insane. In a separate post related to this point on hyper-enthusiast, price-sensitive, insensitive players, Piscatel suggested that the recent game prices are rising and the deluxe editions are becoming more commonplace. It's because that 14% of players are less likely to worry about the cost of games. Meaning most pricing is focused on them. 14% of people might be stupid. As I mentioned, price insensitive is a really fun way of saying pay big. Been talking about this trend for years when it comes to game spending, he wrote. Why are there premium game pads? 149 USD collector's edition, pro console, and general raising prices. Because the companies are really greedy. And they know they can be greedy, that's the problem. Because the price sensitive, affluent players are the ones doing more of the spending, as everyone else shifts more to free to play. Or price insensitive, affluent, and sometimes people being blinded by, let's say, nostalgia, right? And they announced the new, I think it was Mario Galaxy Collection, remake, some sort of thing. They're reselling you again, Galaxy and Galaxy 2, right? And some people are like, oh, but I like this game. And I'm like, dude, it's really expensive. You can just emulate it on the PC with no problems. I bet you can play that on Steam Deck anyway. Why are you paying again for the game? It's not new, but you're paying as if it was new. And these same people sometimes they just criticize the companies for having all of these strange legalities going on, right? Especially Nintendo being so litigious recently with Palworld and whatnot. That means not that they don't care necessarily, but some of them are too addicted. They cannot stop sucking their titties. Which is a different problem. Another report published by ComScore last year found that 82% of American video game players have made an in-game purchase in the past 12 months. 82% of American video game players need to be punished. Why are you paying? Why are you paying for stupid shit? Stop it. Adding that while some players may not necessarily be buying a lot of games, they're still putting money into the industry, either through in-game purchases in free-to-play titles. Okay, hold up. Let's say I never do that kind of thing, right? Let's say me buying a single gacha game roll a year doesn't mean I'm bumping the same amount of money in some sort of whale buying several games a month. Absolutely not. So I know what I'm trying to say here, but this thing here tries to mean something that's not actually saying. So I don't know how to feel about that. Just pay up, little piggy. I do believe people should be more conscious about what they pay for. That's my unrealistic dream, but I still wish. And speaking of video games having microtransactions, let's finish for today with Blue Protocol, shall we? That music a little bit loud, I think it's fine, right? Blue Protocol Star Resonance is finally out in the West, and after strong start on Steam. But was the MMORPG worth the wait? Is it resonating? I don't think so, not from what I've seen. MMORPG Blue Protocol Star Resonance was finally released in the West yesterday. It's already after a strong start on Steam. It's already paid almost 95,000 concurrent players. That's a lot, but the game is free, so that checks out. Many has more players than at the time of writing than Hollow Knight, Silk Song, Marvel Rivals in eSports FC26. The anime MMO from Bandai Namco. I don't know if Bandai Namco has anything to do with the game nowadays. Maybe they're just the publishers. Was previously released in Japan and was set to receive a Western release by Amazon Games. However, in August 2024, Japanese servers were shut down and the Western release cancelled. I do believe this version of Blue Protocol is not the same as what they had in Japan. Since then, the Tencent-founded developer Bukuro picked up the project, added Star Resonance to the name, has now released it as a free-to-play game across PC, Steam and Epic, mobile, iOS and Google. They being Android, obviously. In North America, Europe, Latin America and Oceania. First problem with this. Single server. So, if you're in the US, cool. If you're in Latin America, might be troublesome. If you're in Europe, you're probably gonna have lag, and if you're in Australia, you're probably screwed. But after all that, was it worth the wait? Steam reviews from players so far would suggest not. Blue Protocol currently has a mixed rating. People have been calling this a free view bombing. Don't know if that's the correct term, I'm sorry. People being against something you like doesn't mean they're bombing it for different reasons. With criticisms of its lack of content, generic gameplay, and gacha mechanics. I do hate this new generation of MMOs. This is just a gestalt of the worst of MMOs and gacha. Why? Why? I just want a game! I'm a bit too old for MMOs anyway. I actually watched a little bit of Asmon giving his opinion on Blue Protocol, and I kind of resonate with him. Okay, I could be playing this. Why am I not playing anything else than single player? Yeah, I'm like, okay, I could be playing this. Why am I not playing Tales of Destiny, Director's Cut, for example, right? Probably better gameplay anyway. MMOs make sense if you have a group of friends that also play, I think. Just once, I would love to get an anime MMO without 1,000 currencies, gacha, 5,000 presents with no real value, and overloaded the UI, wrote one Steam user. But another, this absolute slop represents the culmination of the cancer that has killed the MMO genre. Other players, meanwhile, are more positive, claiming it has great art and visuals, kinda looks like Genshin Impact. So I don't know about that. And that for a free-to-play game, it's worth a go. There are better free-to-play games, I bet. Then with its Japanese cancellation, the developers stated the difficult decision to end service was made as it will not be possible to provide a service that satisfies all of you. Does it satisfy anybody at least? I went hands-on with Blue Protocol ahead of its release way back in 2023. While it was enjoyable, I questioned if it could do enough to differentiate itself from its Hoyoverse competition. Yeah, I mean, if it's not better than Genshin, people are not really going to move, I don't think. But it's still China's lab, after all. As the game was released in Japan, it received a particularly positive reception, which ultimately led to its cancellation. Blue Protocol's Star Resonance revival will certainly give it the second release of life, but whether it was worth it remains questionable. If you're looking to dip into the game, check out the guide. How to redeem? Redeem, sir, to redeem. Okay, I didn't play the game yet, and I don't think I'm gonna play it. But I've seen some stuff that I'm not a big fan of. For example, life skills. Big fan of those. Love crafting, love mining, love cranking my hog. Always cool. You have a stamina. You have a stamina system, as if it was a gacha game, apparently. That's not looking good. It's an MMO, you would expect. Doing content like raids, dungeons, bosses and whatnot to get good drops for gear, or maybe you just craft it. Usually crafting gears pretty decent, good, optimal in some cases. Why do you have gacha? Apparently it's just pay to win to the utmost degree. People have been saying, oh, but what about WoW talking? Yeah, people don't like WoW talking anyway. It's not even the same. From what you've seen, you have auto tracking. That's fine. I think that's okay. You have auto combat. In what's supposed to be an action-based MMO, which doesn't make any sense to me. People were saying, but auto combat is not optimal for big fights. I'm like, yeah, but it is an action game. Why do you have auto combat anyway? So, it's like a gacha game. It's like a gacha game. What's a game? You have auto mechanics to play the game while you're not playing the game. I don't think that's something good to do. Honestly. I've also seen some mentions about having a really strong anti-cheat being kernel level, which shouldn't be the case if it's an MMO, as long as you have good enough security and architecture on your server. What do I know? Once again, oh, what do I know? So, yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it anymore. People were complaining that it's really hard to tell when you're in or out of the tutorial. A guy that was playing up to like level 30 and felt like it was still tutorial. Somebody mentioned that you need to change any of the gear that you start with, and you don't really see enemies actually dealing damage to you, but the enemies have insane amounts of HP. I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. As well, some issues. Okay, not what I'm looking for. It is in Blue Protocol. It's an original game in the same universe, like how Apex Legends and Titanfall, the same universe with different types of FPS. Okay, that makes sense. There's the journalism so bad around this game. It's in Blue Protocol from Monday Namco in any form beyond the IP. And they picked the rights and developed a mobile MMO. That's the problem, isn't it? Everything has to be phones nowadays. And I'm fucking tired of that. I don't wanna play that. The original game failed miserably, was very bad. Booker decided to sell publishing rights for Star Resonance for other territories. A+, a Japanese publisher, picked up the rights for North America, South America and Europe, which is the version that has just launched on Steam. It is nothing of the game but Namco made beyond the style and using action combat. The content is the same, the world isn't the same, the classes are all different. It uses Holy Trinity of tank, heal and DPS, which I enjoy personally, I don't think it's wrong. Which the original didn't. It is a completely new game. Yes, the play themselves are not and will not ever be MMOs. It's a little game about watching sim. I'm something good at watching my character. Let's play autoplayable content. Yeah, I don't know. After a strong start, mostly negative reviews, a story 70 minutes long on release and with zero originality. Artificially delaying the release of story and features to try and keep players, but it's just frustrating. Their Fantasy did this, and lost 95% of players in a single patch. Never played that, but I saw the same problems. It feels like just a Genshin clone. As just stolen from Genshin and Wuthering Waves. Now original content. Game is in endgame state after 2 hours of gameplay. Animations have missing frames. Stormblade Glass just copy-paste Virgil. Foolishness that day. Foolishness. I'm on the French government. Okay, that was funny. That was fucking funny. And as Asmon also mentioned, you have to do your dailies, which is really annoying. What am I doing dailies here when I could be playing something that is actually good? So at the end of the day, I don't think I'm gonna be playing Blue Protocol. I don't think I'm gonna be even trying it. I don't wanna bother. Especially if the kernel is actually so... The anti-cheat is so invasive. I don't think you can blame me for that. I think that makes sense. So, I think that's gonna be everything for me today. What is the plan for next week? Well, we have to keep playing Heroes 3. I will need to look up more information on the game. I want to become better. We'll do that between today and tomorrow. We'll be finishing Legacy of Goku 2. Finally, we will need to do a little bit of... I think it's gonna be a little bit... more than a little bit. We're gonna be grinding on stream for the post-game. That's gonna be the post-game. Grinding Mr. Satan to level 50. It's gonna be so engaging, I'm afraid. And I'm not quite sure what to do on Wednesday, honestly. We might start Wind Waker already. If I find some sort of ROM hack that's short and wanna do, we might do that. I've been thinking about trying to test games. Like, I find this game to be potentially interesting. Let's take a look. And we play for like a full stream. And then we'll like, okay, it's not as good as I expected, or it might be better, or has this and that. Because I stumbled upon a really fun website the other day, romhack.ing. It has a bunch of translation patches. One of the games I saw was the I think it was SNES video game for the TTRPG Sword World. That looks kinda cool. I wouldn't mind trying that. But I don't think you can justify a full playthrough of that. I don't know how long it is. There's no information in how long to beat, so you know it's pretty rough. And we could be playing a bunch of stuff. We could be trying stuff. But yeah, we might have a one-off game, or we might just start Wind Waker. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll decide before tomorrow evening, I guess. But yeah, thank you all for coming. Hope you had some fun. We're coming back on Monday with Heroes 3. I need to get my shit together. I'm playing a little bit slowly, but I will become better. And until then, you know the rules. Never fall. For flavor of the month, it's not worth it. And take care.